You ever think about dropping out of high school?
No.
What do you think causes kids to drop out?
I think a couple of reasons. Scared of the real world. Not able to cope with problems, issues, things like that, and not thinking that they'll be able to handle it. Too much pressure, maybe.
Okay. Do you think are there resources that help kids stay in school?
I think counselors, which we don't have enough in the public schools of Philadelphia. I think more parent contact and working with families helps. And literacy, because I think a lot of our kids don't read at the level that they should, and that maybe causes like low confidence and frustration.
When you were in school, did you study, and how long did you study?
When I was in school, I did study, and probably 2 to 3 hours a night in high school.
Okay. In school, what were your favorite subjects?
My favorite subject was Spanish. Duh. Yeah. I mean, I liked all my classes. My hardest class was AP Calculus, and that was hard. That was my only C in high school. Not fun.
In school, did you ever cut class?
My mother was the guidance counselor at my high school, so no. There was no cutting class.
Okay, well, I guess this question wouldn't really count, I know, but what kind of trouble did you get into?
None.
See. In school, what made you get good grades?
I liked getting good grades. I went to predominantly Caucasian school, and I felt like I had something to prove. So I liked getting straight A's in AP classes. I liked that my parents liked that I had straight A's. So yeah, I liked getting good grades.
In school, did you care how you looked?
I did. I didn't like follow everybody's trends, but like I had like a quirky kind of style. So.
And last question. How was your attendance in school?
Perfect. There was no missing school. That was not an option. Like, I think I missed school for states, for athletics, and that's an excused absence. I was never really sick, so there was no missing school.
Thank you for your operation.
Hey.
We got a quick little interview questionnaire for you about our senior project, High School Dropout Week. Question 1, did you ever think about dropping out of high school?
Yes, plenty of times. It was a lot of work. It was a huge workload. I was taking a radio and TV class. We had to make our own movies, do storyboards, original music, scripts. It was first come, first serve with the cameras, so it was just a bit much. It was like mainly in my senior year, I did feel like I was done.
Okay. Question 2, what are some factors that cause kids to drop out?
The workload, or not having a strong support system at home, being influenced by the wrong people.
Okay. Question 3, what are some resources that will probably help kids stay in school?
After school activities, and just teachers and parents that just care about the students and just motivating them. I just think it's motivation that will keep them in school.
Okay, great answer. I like that. Question 4, did you study, and how long did you study?
I never studied.
Well, that's what I like. That's what I like. I was studying.
Honestly, I never studied.
Oh, here you go. That's good.
Question 5. What was your favorite subject in school?
Although it was stressful, but it was more of an elective. My radio and TV class was my favorite because I'm interested in the arts and the media, so it was my favorite class. I mean, other than that, probably English because I'm into writing and journalism.
Did you ever cut class?
All the time.
Why did you cut class?
Because honestly, I don't think it was a challenge. I never had a challenge.
What kind of trouble did you get in school?
I didn't get into trouble in school because when I cut class, I wasn't in the hallways. I left
Out of school?
out of school.
Yeah, that's smart.
What made you want to get good grades in school?
Honestly, towards my senior year, that's when I really wanted to make sure my grades was good because I wanted to get out of school. I went to summer school every year until my senior year, and I just was like, I'm not going my senior year. I had to graduate, so that's what I did.
Did you care how you looked in school?
Yes, I was very popular, prom queen. So, yep, looks was very important to me.
Okay. How was your attendance in school?
I was there every day, but I left.
Thank you for saying
All right.
for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
Ah,
Hello, Miss Ali. We got a little interview / questionnaire for you on our senior project. It's about the high school dropout rate. Okay. Question 1. Did you ever think about dropping out of high school and why?
I never really thought about dropping out of high school, but I did get extremely exhausted with high school. And I think that I just had a feeling of wanting to see what the next level was, wanting to go on to the next step and be done with school.
Question 2. What are some factors that might cause kids to drop out of high school?
Well, today, with the rise in technology, students may drop out of school because they do not find it engaging or relevant to their interests or their job aspirations. Many of our inner city youth have aspirations of being entrepreneurs or professional ball players or entertainers, and so many of them feel like going to college and getting a college degree is not going to benefit them.
Question 3. What are some resources that might help kids stay in school?
I believe if teachers are more creative in the classroom, if parents find it necessary to become a part of the school community, and if we promote school pride more often and provide fun activities in school, and more tricks that pertain to student interests, I think that we can engage students in the high school environment.
Question 4. Did you study and how long did you study?
I did study. When I was in school, I loved to read. My parents did not accept C's, and so I had to study to make sure I was on point.
Question 5. What was your favorite subject in school?
History and English.
Did you ever cut class?
I never cut class.
What kind of trouble did you get in?
I never got in trouble. If I ever got in trouble or if a teacher said anything to me, it was because I was talking, but I was not a troublemaker in school.
What made you want to get good grades in school?
First, my parents, and then the fact that I love to learn. And if you are getting good grades, that is part of the evidence of you actually learning and demonstrating that you're learning.
Did you care how you looked in school?
I did not.
How was your attendance in school?
I was always in school. I actually hated when my parents scheduled appointments during school and got me out early.
That was our last question. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for
You're
your time.
welcome. It's so sad, but all of that is so true.
How you doing, Ms. Rubino? I'm here doing a survey about the dropout rate in high school. Question 1. Did you ever think about dropping out of school?
Never. Not once.
What do you think are the factors that causes kids to drop out?
I think when there's not enough support at home, that's something. I think when people at home are saying that school's not important and that you can do what you want with your life without school, I think that's another factor. I think when kids start making money with part-time jobs or with illicit under-the-table activities, and they realize that money can buy them things immediately, a lot of kids like that instant gratification, so they will spend less time in school, which does not have immediate rewards, and they'll spend more time doing something that gives them the immediate reward. So I think, because we're not, like, sometimes people at home aren't necessarily planning these kids for long-term success and long-term options, I think that's, it compounds the problem. Like I said, if you're not getting the support from home, and then when you go out and you work and you realize, hey, I can be making money and I get what I want right away, and you've never had to wait for anything before in your life because your parents give you whatever you want whenever you want it, then those are the kinds of kids that are more likely to drop out. Lastly, I think in Philadelphia particularly, there's a lot of social promotion that happens between elementary school and middle school. So like even if a kid sucks at something and they fail, they get passed on to the next grade, all the way up to 8th grade. And then they get out of 8th grade and they get into 9th grade, and there's no social promotion in high school. If you fail, you just keep cycling through the 9th grade. So we see a lot of dropouts are kids who are 3rd or 4th year 9th graders, right? So they're just like 18 years old taking classes with 14-year-olds, and that's, number one, it's embarrassing to them. And number two, they feel like the system is meant to hold them down. And so if they're going to be successful, they have to get out of the education system and go on to something else.
What do you think are the resources to help kids stay in school?
I don't think Philadelphia has many resources. I think the sad thing is that it's teachers saying to kids, we want you to stay, like you should just try your hardest, and like what can we do to help you stay? And if you get a teacher who's not like that, then it's very possible that you're going to be out on the street because you feel like there's nobody. The kids who are likely to drop out are kids who don't want to be here because nobody told them that was important. Like you asked me, what did I ever think of dropping out? No, why on earth would I ever think of dropping out? My parents would have beat me senseless if I dropped out of school. They would have been like, this is not what we meant for you. Like, we've been telling you since my dad wouldn't let me get a job in high school because he was like, that's not your job is school. Like, you have to focus on that so that you can go to college, so that you can get a real job one day, right? So there's that forward thinking again. And I think that for a lot of kids, if you get the wrong type of teacher, or if you get in the wrong type of situation, like there was a kid in 9th grade here who he was, he's a very smart kid, but he wasn't in an honors class, and he got involved in a fight with one of his friends, and he's being moved to another school now, and he's brilliant, like he's really bright, and now he's in a school. I heard another teacher talking to him, and the kid was like, yeah, my new school is full of juvenile delinquents. Like, I'm not going to be successful at all if I go to this school. So he is now probably going to recycle through his classes. He's not going to have avenues to success. He's not going to have any resources. He's going to drop out. He's going to do something delinquent with his life. And there we go. We've lost another smart kid, right? Because we just don't support them the way that they need to be supported.
Did you study in school, and how long did you study?
I did study in school, but I was smart about studying. I actually had a lot of other things I did. Like, I showed up to school early to do choir. I stayed after school late every day to do sports. So I had stuff that was taking up my extra time. And our lunch was an hour long, so I would spend my lunch period, like if I had a class in the afternoon, I would get my homework done for that class during the lunch period. Or if I had a class the night before, like I would get the stuff, if I had like a first period, a second period class, because I had third period lunch, but a first and second period class, I would do that homework that day when I got it. So that way I wouldn't have to do it when I got home, because when I got home it was like 6 o'clock at night, and then you eat dinner, you get a shower, and then you go to bed, right? So I did do a lot of work at home though. Like I remember that was my parents' big thing. My mom would be cooking dinner in the kitchen, and she would make us sit at the dining room table until we finished everything. Like we weren't allowed to go out and play. But I also went to a high school that was not a neighborhood high school, so it wasn't like you could just walk down the street and knock on somebody's door. It was a different kind of thing. So.
What was your favorite subject?
In high school? It's gonna sound so dumb.
Sorry.
Well, it was AP US History was my absolute favorite subject, and that's what I teach. I know, doesn't that just sound dumb? Well, my AP US History teacher, when I got into school, it was a 7th through. I got into school in 7th grade, and then I went all the way to 12th grade there. And the guy who was the AP US History teacher who taught 11th grade, he was from South Philly, which is where I was from. And he knew that because my mom had talked to him, and so he kind of like adopted me in the school and like showed me around and made sure that I was comfortable. And then I got you know, I finally got to his class, and he just like made me feel comfortable. He made me feel good about myself. He sent me to like all these trainings for the AP test, and he sent me to like camps and stuff. And then he like put me in charge of teaching the class a couple days because he was like doing some paperwork. So he was just like, well, Megan will teach the class. And then like we went on all these trips. Like I'm obsessed with cemeteries now because we had this big project we had to do in his class, which was going to cemeteries, picking out somebody who was dead and like recreating their life from the 1800s, right? So like he just did all these wonderful, awesome things that made me feel like it was magic. So.
Did you ever cut class?
Yes.
Why did you cut class?
So there were days when I told you I was in choir, there were days when we had performances, and performances were like in the evenings, and like all the band kids got out of class and all the choir kids got out of class, but it was kind of staggered. So there were, when I was a senior, there were a couple of times when I left when the band kids left, even though I wasn't in the band, so that I could hang out with my friends in the band room instead of going to class. And I mean, I look back on it now, and my teachers were not harsh about it. They were just like, I was passing all my classes. I had really good grades. I didn't get like B's and C's. So, it was like the teachers kind of didn't care, and they let it go because I also always made up all my work.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big deal. But I mean, I was a senior at that point. I was scared. I was scared to do anything. I was so scared to do anything because I knew everybody knew my parents because my mom worked in the office. My dad was part of the Home and School Association. So if I did anything, if I stepped a toe out of line, everybody told my parents because they were all best friends with my parents. So it was like, you can't really get away with much.
What made you want to get good grades in school?
My parents. I remember when I was in 7th grade, I got my first F on a quiz. It was on a quiz. It wasn't even on a test. I got an F on a quiz, and my dad was like so angry. He wasn't even. You know, like when your parents make you feel disappointed in yourself and you like cry yourself to sleep at night. Like this was past that. He was like angry at me for getting an F on a test. And my mom tried to hide it from him because she knew that he was just going to be angry. And he was just like, is this what you want to do with your life? You want to fail out of everything? You want to be nothing? And I was just like, so upset. So I just, I realized that to them, that was it. Like, that my only purpose in life was to get good grades until I was old enough to, like, get my own job and buy a house and buy my own food and stuff.
Did you care how you looked in school?
No, you should see the pictures. They're horrible. No, I feel like I still don't care how I look in school. But to me, my parents have always brought me up thinking your physical self. My mom was very, like, my mom always did her hair every morning. She always did her makeup every morning. She always wore really nice clothes. And my dad was the same way. Like, he was very, like, my dad was the only man I knew that used a hairdryer. Right? Like, but the whole point was the way that they were seen in their neighborhood was they were, they lived in Grays Ferry. So like these were the nice polished people that lived in Grays Ferry, and they were like, upper class people that were living in a lower class neighborhood. And that was very important to them. And then when I was growing up, it was always like, but people are going to respect you because you're smarter than them. And, like that was the thing. And so I grew up always thinking like, my sister was the pretty one, I was the smart one. So I didn't have to worry about the way that I looked because once I opened my mouth, people were going to respect me anyway. So, I feel like I've learned a little bit about that as I've grown up. I don't dress like a schlub. I remember I went through a flannel shirt phase. It was horrible. Ripped jeans and flannel shirts. It was horrible. But, the point is, yeah, I came out on the other side. I don't look too shabby, but I still think your brains are more important than how people see you.
Last question. How was your attendance at school?
Oh my God, I never miss a day of school.
I told you in your plans that question.
My sister, on the other hand, my sister's younger than me. She missed days. She would tell my mom, she'd be like, Mommy, I don't feel good. And she would be like, okay, you can stay home. And then she'd be like, Megan, you're getting up and going to school. And I'm like, what? Like, we both go to the same school. If she's staying home, can't I stay home? She's like, no. So I always had to go to school unless I was dying. If I was dying and I was like throwing up, then I didn't have to go to school. But I never missed a day of school. And I still, like, I feel like I still have that, you know. But my mom always did say to me, she always said, you don't ever want to take a sick day because you're sick. So you want to take a sick day on a day like today when it's nice and sunny, so you can enjoy it. But, you know, that was when I was much, much older.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Medina.
No problem. I hope it was helpful.
Yeah. How you doing today, Mr. Castro?
How are you, Mr. Coleman? Very well.
So today we're ask you a couple questions about our senior project on the high school dropout rate today.
Okay.
Question number 1. Did you ever think about dropping out of school?
Yes, I did drop out of school. So I went to Catholic school, elementary, Sacred Heart of Manoa, K through 8th. And I was an altar boy up until 8th grade. Real geeky, you know, always did, you know, what I was supposed to do. The nuns, the priests, my teachers, my mom, my dad. And then 2 weeks, you know, before high school was supposed to start, I was registered to go to Cardinal O'Hara, another Catholic high school. I decided to go to public school instead. Once I got into public school after sophomore year, my attitude towards school changed quite a bit. I was into hanging out with my friends, partying, you know, stuff like that. So at that age, yeah, I started thinking about dropping out of school. But because of the background I had, because of my mom and dad being up my ass all the time, like really strict with the homework in elementary school, they really nailed in the, I guess, the morals and beliefs about how school's important. So because of them, and only because of them, I did not drop out of school. I did not go to school, but I did not drop out of school. Only because of them, because of the time that they put into me. If it wasn't, I probably would have never finished high school, because I never went.
Question 2. What are the factors that cause the kids to drop out?
Peer pressure. That's an influence right there. If you're running around with the wrong group of kids, and you know, especially if you don't have a group to fit in socially, like, you know, I don't like to use the word loner, like, you know, but a lot of people, you know, they do things just to fit in and feel socially accepted, to be part of the crowd, to be popular. So I think, like, you know, your social group and peer pressure, you know, causes a lot of dropout rates. Also, the lack of skills, like, you know, the academic skills that you were supposed to be installed with, like, you know, going from elementary school to middle school to high school. I think a lot of people in high school, you know, don't have the skill sets to function in class. Therefore, if they don't have those skills to function, they just skip class. Once they start skipping, it builds up, and then they eventually drop out. So not having like that proper education from previous grades, that's also a cause of dropout. And then you get, like, you know, the sad part. Now I'm going to go inner city on you as opposed to like suburb. You know, those students who are living at home with brothers and sisters, you know, baby brothers and sisters, and a mom that's working 80 hours a week to support the whole family. I've seen these kids cut school and drop out of school to sell drugs, to make money, to pay the rent, to pay the heat, to make sure the little brothers and sisters could eat. And not that I condone it, I didn't stop them, you know what I mean? So family could be a reason too. If you got to support your family, and you know what I mean, and you're the man of the house, if you're the man of the house at 16 years old, you know, you're going to have issues. That's stressful. So that could cause you to drop out. You got to take care of La Familia first, you know what I mean? And then, you know, I guess the drugs and alcohol get involved with the friends. That's the peer pressure. So those are 3 pretty good reasons. Like, you know, I would say why kids, you know, drop out or think about dropping out of school. You know? Yeah.
Question 4. Did you study, and how long did you study?
So, I guess we're talking about high school still, right? Since we're in high school. Did I study in high school? No. I cheated in high school. I did everything I could to cheat, not to put in that extra work, because I was one of those people who got caught up in the peer pressure. I was following a group of people that I normally would not have followed. So no, in high school I did not put absolutely no work in. I had a 0.3 GPA senior year. I had straight 64s down. I think the only reason they passed me is they didn't want me back the next year. I did freshman, sophomore, junior year public school. Didn't go well. My parents finally saw that. Pulled me out, put me in Bonner, Catholic high school. I did everything I could to get expelled from that school. The very first day I smoked a cigarette in class trying to get kicked out. It did not work. Wound up back in public school again, you know, for 5 years. So I did not study. You know, I watched all my friends graduate. You know, I got held back a year. I watched all my friends go to college. I didn't. I got held back, and I did not go to college right away. College was a different story, though. I studied every single day. Like, you know, not community college. I still effed up in community college. I was running around with the girls. Still didn't have my head screwed on from senior year, you know, from high school. My dad finally came to me. I guess I was, Jesus Christ, 20 years old, you know. And he's like, if you bring home another fucking F, I'm like, right? Once again, I had straight Fs again. I didn't show my parents any improvement, any will that I wanted to improve. He was going to kick me out of the fucking house. That scared me, you know. And at that point, I met a girl, like, you know, and she was well educated, had a nice job, made good money. So I started to change my philosophy, you know. I was smart. I never applied myself. So I vowed to do the best I could in college. Now, I commuted to college. I didn't drive. So because I commuted, I was stuck there for hours upon hours. I might have had a 10 o'clock class in the morning, and my next class was at 5 o'clock at night. So instead of going home, because I didn't have a car, I was forced to study. And after I got my grades back, that like first week of really putting in time, I was getting A's. And I said, oh shit, this is what I'm capable of. So I stepped up the bar. Not only did I want A's and B's, I wanted to be number one. Like, so now it was a competition. And once I entered that kind of like mentality, this is competition, and I'm gonna win. So yeah, in college I studied. I didn't sleep, man. Like, you know, I wish I would have applied what I did in college to how I was in high school. But maybe I wouldn't have been the same person if I'd done that. You know what I mean? Maybe if I didn't fuck up in high school, I wouldn't become the person I was today. So yeah, I did eventually see that light bulb go off, and I went hard with it because I was good at it. Like, you know what I meant? I didn't get paid in college. My friends were working, and you know, they didn't go to college. I was the only one of my friends, like a solid group of 20 that I'm still friends with today. We all live within a mile of each other. They all went to the trades. Like, you know what I mean? I could have picked up a trade, been a plumber, an electrician, but something about the challenge of getting like an A on a calculus test. You know what I mean? I liked that, and it sparked interest. So studying became ultimate goal number one. Like, once I turned into college, I didn't go out on the weekends. I didn't go out, period. Like, you know what I mean? And I loved it. And it's because of that, like, you know, sometimes I got regrets. Maybe, I don't know, like, you know, the what ifs. But, shit, what was the question?
Question 5. What was your favorite subject?
Favorite subject, I'm a math teacher, so there was one thing I was always good at, and that was math. It came to me. Writing, English, talking, I wasn't really good at, like that left brain, right brain. So it was always math that I was good at. Always won awards in elementary school. You know, a lot of people were jealous, the kids in math class, like trigonometry in high school. Like I said, I would cut 40 out of 45 days, you know, of the semester, and walk in and take a trigonometry final next to like the smart and get an A, you know. So there was a lot of animosity, you know, at the same time. Like, I could do that. I failed history 3 times in a row, though, so it was only math. I was really good at math. My dad was a CPA, certified public accounting, so he was good with numbers, so I think that's in the blood. He's always good with numbers. So, and still math to this day. I'm a math geek. I fucking love it. Sorry about the cursing. You cut. I love it. I love math, and that was my favorite subject, man.
I heard you that you like cut class. So I wanted to know what made you cut class.
Alright. What made me cut class? So, like, you know, I told you I was a perfect student, you know, perfect attendance, honor roll, and then it started gradually declining once I got to high school freshman year. I was okay. Started declining. I guess around sophomore year, I ran around with the wrong group of friends, but they're still my best friends now, but at that time it was wrong to run around with that crew. I shouldn't have been doing it. And I got introduced, I'll be honest with you, to, like, you know, partying. Like, you know, I remember going to my first kegger, you know, in the woods. We bought cases of beer and we wound up selling it. Like, you know, we bought the beer and we would sell it, make a ton of money. So then I got addicted to making money. And that's what ultimately got me in trouble. Like, you know, so then I figured out how else to make money. Oh, I could sell drugs, you know? Oh, I could sell fake report cards. So, like, you know, what was the question again? Hold on.
What made you cut class?
Okay, so that's what made me cut class, and I was good at it. I was good at cutting class. I was good at getting the mail out of the mailbox. I was good at getting the phone call. I was good at forging my parents' signature. I was good at slipping out the back door. I mastered the craft. I never got caught, whether I don't know if the administration felt like dealing with me or not, or because I was good at fudging the records. Like, so, you know, I would run around with my friends, you know, from 8 o'clock in the morning, we'd get picked up, go to school, walk in one door, out the other, get back in the car, and then we would party at each other's houses. Like, you know, whoever's parents were working, we'd bounce from house to house. And like, you know, we only lived within a quarter mile, so if we had to go back to a class, we were back there in like 8 seconds. Like, so it was easy, and we had block scheduled. So every class was 90 minutes. So if I had lunch in a class, I had 180 minutes of cutting time. And then we had study hall, so put 3 of them together. So we would take rides, leave, go down to the city, do what we had to do, and come back. So, yeah, it was, my college was my high school. Like, you know, the best time of my life was in high school. But like I said, I got regrets. Like, you know what I mean?
What kind of trouble did you get in?
So, for real, right? What kind of trouble? I'll be honest with you. And this, you know, I kind of hold this to heart because I think I broke up my parents' marriage because of my behavior. They wound up not even sleeping in the same bed together, like after a certain amount of years. They never got divorced, but they were always fighting over me because of the trouble I got in. My dad would stick behind me. My mom said he had to do something, and they constantly fought over me. I'm not proud of this, right? So I was arrested. I have a criminal record. Under the age of 18, you know, I was into like breaking and entering and stuff like that. You know, it was always the alcohol that got me in trouble. So underage drinking, I wasn't good at it. I always got caught. Selling pot, sometimes I wasn't good at it, got caught. You know, and this adds up to like 16 or 17 times retail theft. So under the age of 18, I was arrested, I don't know, 16 or 17 times. And that's why, like, you know, my parents would come pick me up at the police station with my friends on the weekend. Like, again, like, don't you learn? Aren't you tired? All that money I told you about, making money, I had to get back. Like, you know what I mean? I got in trouble. I had to get back to the law. So it was the alcohol, the drugs, and the peer pressure that got me into trouble. And, like, we were a tight crew of people, so we partied hard. So, like, you know, and we accepted the consequences of, you know, what happens, you know, in partying hard. So after the age of 18, I didn't realize how important staying out of trouble was. And I got arrested at 18 years old for retail theft. 18 years old, I got arrested for the day after my 21st birthday. I got arrested for another DUI. And then I got arrested for intent to distribute. This was after the age of 18, and I should have learned that it was going to stick on my record. I had a hard time becoming a teacher because of all this. Hard time. I had to work in Catholic school for 5 years, making $28,000. My friends were making $60,000. I couldn't go out because after I paid my cell phone bill, I had no money left. I couldn't go chase girls around. Girls want people that can take care of them. It took me 5 years. I had to go under a professional conduct review because of my dumbass decision back in the day in high school. And it cost me, let's see, I make $65,000 a year, times that by 5. I missed out on $300,000 because of those decisions. You know what I mean? And it's because of those decisions I had to go through, like I said, a professional conduct review, all kinds of stuff to prove to the state of Pennsylvania that I'm okay. Like, you know what I mean? That I matured. And they did. Like, you know what I mean? They saw my grades. They saw me teaching Catholic school. You know, I made a mistake and I changed. So, you know, it's why I picked high school to work in, like you guys in particular, to maybe say, like, yo, man, like, you know, it's not that I know it all, it's I've been through it. Like, you know, don't do that. I know what's going to happen if you go down that road. I was behind those bars because I went down that road. Like, you know, don't do that. That's what's going to, oh, no, do that. Yes, that's a good thing. So, like, I picked high school back to maybe, like, these kids, you don't make the same mistakes I did. Not that I'm a bad person right now, but, like, I don't want to see you lose money, time, or freedom. You ever been locked up? Sucks, man. Like, appreciate your freedom. 8x6, those cells make you think differently. Okay?
Question 8. What made you want to get good grades at school?
What made me
Want to get good grades?
a girl? It was only a girl. And then after that, so it was external first. I didn't do it for myself. I didn't give a shit about myself, you know? I did it for the girl, to prove to her that I was worthy of dating, that I was worthy to marry, that I was going to be somebody. So I did it to prove to everybody else, you're wrong, I'm not a fuck up, I'm not going to go to jail, watch me. So I did everything out of spite. It was like pretty much F everybody. I can't do it? All right, watch what I can do. And then I fell in love and I did everything for this girl, like, you know, and we broke up, but, you know, thank God I met that girl, because if it wasn't for her trying to prove a point, maybe I wouldn't be sitting, like, you know what I mean? Maybe I would have just dropped out of school. So a girl, love, dude, love, women do funny things to you. And it changed me, man. It does. Women do funny things, man, and they will change the way you see the world and you see yourself when you get older. And I'm still glad I met that girl, because I'm sitting here doing this interview with you right now. You know what I mean? So that, and then it turned internal. Now I was like, I found like a superpower that I couldn't shut off. So then I just did it like, I couldn't wait to see. I wanted a 4.0 down everything. So I would study so hard and wait for it to come to me. I'm like, damn, 3.98, I'd be so bitter. Like, I would hold that against me. Like, you know what I mean? So then I did everything for me. So it was external, and then eventually I did it for myself. You know what I mean? Because you got to do stuff in life for yourself, not for other people. You do it for you. You only got one life to live, so make it count.
Did you care how you looked in school?
So I grew up in the suburbs, right? You know, Haverford High School. My family wasn't wealthy, but we weren't poor. Like, you know what I mean? But when it came to clothes, in Catholic school we had a uniform, so I really had nothing to worry about, right? And then came public school, and I remember like coming in like and wearing what I wore on the first day of public school. It was like a rainbow shirt, and it didn't match. And I saw what everybody else was wearing. I'm like, oh wow! In order to fit in, I'm gonna have to pick a dress code. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, it did. When I went to high school, it mattered what I was wearing, because, like, you know, that was your classification of who you are. And I wore purple Champions, I had Feli, I had one pant leg up, I had my hat to the side. I was that, man. I wore triple fat goose, you know what I mean? And then I started becoming my own person, like, you know, and then my mom used to take me to thrift stores to shop. And I hated it, but she's like, you're gonna wear what I can buy you, like, and like it. So I learned to care eventually, like, no, I didn't learn to care. Yeah, I did care what I wore to school, but I couldn't do anything about it, because I didn't have money, and that's why I talked about that money thing earlier in the questions. Then I was able to do something about it, like, you know what I mean? So then I would go out and buy clothes and dress up nice. That's all materialistic now that I'm looking at it. Clothes don't matter. What's inside matters. Like, you know what I mean? If you don't like me for what I'm wearing, F you, get out of my face. I'm not going to spend my time talking to you. Like this, you don't judge a book by its cover. But I can see, being in high school, how you need to fit. Like, you know what I mean? People, oh, look at your shoes, they're grimy. Fuck you, man, I don't care about my shoes. Like, I got an education. I'll buy you a pair of shoes once I get my college diploma, my first job. Like, you know what I mean? It did matter in high school, and then as you get older, it doesn't matter. There was always those people that, you know, dressed real nice that you always want to be like. Yeah, so it did matter. Yeah, it really did.
Okay. Here, that's our last question.
All right.
How was your attendance in school?
All right, so like I said, man, I went from perfect attendance. Like, I used to have stickers like you guys I see on the report card. Perfect attendance, boom. And then, you know, I would say it declined rapidly. I was good at cutting, Shamir. I could cut, like, you know, it didn't matter. So since I never got caught, I would keep pushing the lines and the limits. How much could I get away with? How many people could I sneak out the door? Like, you know what I mean? I was good at it. So I cut almost in senior year, almost every single day. I would go to school and just walk out the back door and, you know, make fake report cards and fool my parents and let them hang it on the refrigerator, you know, until I got caught with that scam, you know. That's my only regret, like, is the attendance part. If I was in school doing what I was supposed to be doing, I could have gone to college, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you know, I'm not condoning cutting at all. You know, you need your education. I made like a group of friends that I'm still friends with. That's like, you know, my family today. We did everything together. We would cut school together, and it was like a bonding experience. Like, you know what I mean? We still have that bonding right now. And if I had to do it all over again, Shamir, I think I'd do it the same way. I want to change one thing. You know, I'm cool with who I am. Like, you know what I mean? I think I'm me for a reason. I think I was meant to cut school for a reason, you know? But it's weird sitting here talking to you as a student, as a teacher, you know. I still think I'm like in your role. Like, sometimes I have to pull myself out and, damn it, Castro, you're the professional right now. You're the teacher, you're not the student. Like, you know, I get jealous of you guys sometimes, like, clanning around, playing football. I want to be part of that. Like, you know, I want to go back to high school. So it's weird telling you. I don't condone cutting. Like, you know what I mean? And you really need to be in class to learn what you got to learn. The world's different, dude, than it was when I was in school. There was no cell phones. I had a pager. There was no internet, dude. There was no. You want to go play and talk to people, you call on the phone or walk up to the house, knock on the door. Times are changing, and 30 years from now, when you're sitting here, like, you know, on the other end of this, you're gonna be doing an interview, and you're gonna be like telling the same person interviewing you, damn, times have changed. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's what I got, man. Any other questions?
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. You're welcome.